Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Jackie and today I'm going to play again with the Rainforest Relics collection from Bargain Bead Box. And I pulled some of the glass turquoise rondelle beads. I pulled the bronze and the orange. And I'm just going to make another Hishi style necklace using these beads. I just want it to be small, even in, even in width, and just something to wear every day. And I'm going to take a look at that and just explore with it. So basically I've got the beads. I pulled a couple of crimp covers and crimp beads, a clasp, some jump rings, and I'm going to use my needle nose, my flat nose, and my wire cutters. And I've also got some tiger tail wire. So the first thing I'm going to do, of course, which I always do, is to get a crimp cover and put it on. Then I'm going to place a crimp bead. In this case, I've got crimp tubes just because I like working with the tubes a little bit better. So I'm going to pull this down and loop it up. And then I'm going to pull from this end. I don't really need more than about a ½ an inch or so on the end, because all I need to do from here is just tighten it up. And then I'm going to mash it. Just like so. Okay. So it just makes my crimp very nice and sturdy. I don't worry about using crimp pliers because I just don't like using them. Okay. So I'm just going to pull this up and close it, making sure that everything is inside of that crimp cover, just like so. Clasp on. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add 15 of the turquoise beads. So I think 15 would be a good length, and it'd be a little bit more dominant than the orange. Well, kind of even it out because of course orange being a bright color is going to stand out a little bit more, so I'll make up for it with this part with 15 beads to add a little bit of length. Okay, so it's 5, 10, okay. So I put on 15 beads. This should end up being a pretty quick project. I want something a little bit dainty and pretty. Okay, next I'm going to add 3 of the orange and 1 of the bronze, just for an accent. Okay. And then I'm going to add 3. Now, I looked up Amazon jewelry, just trying to get an idea of what they like. And I looked that up online. And the jewelry is mostly natural materials. I'm only adding 3 there. So the jewelry is generally natural materials. They do like gold. I didn't see a lot of silver listed. But in this case, I have antique bronze, so I think that'll be fine, to go with the theme. Okay, and then I'm just going to add 15 more of these. So, 1, kind of do these 5 at a time. It's not always easy to pick them up You know, I'm used to a needle with seed beads, but of course tiger tail wire is going to be a little bit thinner. So you just got to play with it. Okay, so I'm gonna add 3 more beads here. I guess the only reason I'm not doing a pendant is because I want the option. So I may create a pendant that, you know, can be added on afterward, like a, you know, alternate. You can have it or you can't have it, but, you know, I'll probably make one just that could be slid on. So if I decided I wanted to pendant with it, I could. It would just be an add-on. Okay. So I've got my pattern going here. And I like these colors together. I think that looks quite pretty. So I'm going to keep going. I know that, you know, each of these strands had 14 inches. So, you know, altogether, I don't know how much it will do, but I am aiming for 20 inches, so I'm going to keep going with it. You know, this kind of extends it a little bit for the turquoise. But I'm going to go ahead and finish adding on my beads until I get the length I want, and then I'll be back to you to show you what it looks like. All right, so I've strung on all my beads, and now I wanted one of the turquoise to be in the center, you know, the turquoise part. Just, you know, if I want to add a charm to it, I can, and I like it in that section. So my necklace ended up being about 22 inches long, which is fine with me. I think that's going to work out great. And I'm going to go ahead and just coil up my necklace, since I'm going to add my crimps on. So I'm going to start with a crimp cover, and you've seen me do this a bunch of times. I like that I had enough beads to work with just to make the basic necklace. That's all I really needed. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that down. So since the necklace is coiled already, it helps it, you know, to not be too tight. You know, you want it to just kind of hang naturally, so that's why I do that. Okay, I got to where I want it. I'm gonna pull that up and squish. Okay, I'm happy with that. And I'm gonna trim it very close to the crimp bead. You always got to be careful not, you know, the wire that you looped over, that you don't accidentally cut that one, because that would not be good. And then, of course, I have plenty left over, and I put all my tiger tail in here, so, you know, that way if I have little extra pieces for bracelets and stuff like that, nothing gets tangled up. Okay, now I'm going to close the crimp cover over the crimp bead nice and tight, and I want to make sure that my holes line up, and also that this is tight. So, you know, sometimes if you need to take your pliers and just kind of play with it a little bit to even it up, doesn't hurt anything. And again, this is just a basic necklace. But you see, since I coiled it, it just hangs very naturally, which I like. So just a tiny bit treble. You know, that's kind of the look I'm going for. And then I'm going to go through pendants and just see what I like that I think could go with it. And, you know, I'm kind of looking for interchangeable. So I'm going to go ahead and put a jump ring on and my clasp. Squeeze it together just a hair, and then, of course, even out the top of it. Needle nose are the best to do this with just because they get in there, you know, without flattening the end. And sometimes you got to use your fingers just to maneuver it a little bit, but as long as it feels smooth when you run your fingers through it like this, then that's what you want. That way it just, you know, it's not going to catch on your hair or your clothing. Okay, and I've learned always use the flat nose pliers when opening jump rings. It keeps them from flying everywhere. Okay, and so I'll squeeze them together just a hair to make them snap together. That one felt good. So a little rough on the edge, but I got this. All right, that's perfect. Okay, so with stuff like this, a simple lobster claw works best. Okay, so I have just a few of the turquoise beads left. And then just a few of these. Still got plenty of orange left, but I'm going to figure out a way to use them. All right, so now I'm going to just kind of dig through my boxes and see if there's a pendant that looks good with it. So I'll be right back. I'm going to pull a few choices just to see what I like. Okay, so I found a couple of charms. The ones in the kit are a little bit too green for me, so I wasn't really into those, but I did find this leaf, which has a nice turquoise backing on it, or I mean turquoise finish on it, so that would be kind of pretty. And then I found this large one, which actually I like because, you know, it'll just string right on. So let's see what it looks like. So yeah, that would be a nice big accent charm to put on it. That's what you wanted to do. I didn't really have many in bronze. I mean, I suppose I could, you know, create one with seed beads or, you know, different stones, but I don't know. I think if anything, I would probably use this and then make a bell to go around it. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave your comments down below. May creativity be your guide.